Hello, Hidden Gems. I am so excited to be here today with a very special person. And I know we're not, crimes are not exciting, but I am so excited to be with a friend of mine and someone that I have been wanting to introduce to the hidden true crime community because she is so special. I got to know Vicki Hoban, who is Tammy Daybell's aunt, during the trial. That was like going to war together almost, everyone that sat in there every day. And we all got to know one another. And Vicki was no exception to that. I am so honored, Vicki, that you would be here today. I know that you soon have an interview with Court TV, and you said, I'm going to jump on with Hidden True Crime first. Thank you, and you know, truly, thank you. We know how private Tammy's family has been the past 3 years, respectfully so, understandably so, and for you to trust our community and me enough to come on here and share a few things means so much to us, and especially live. We don't always do live interviews, and I asked Vicki, would you be willing? And you said yes. It just adds to a bit more of the intimate conversation, and so thank you. You are among friends. I guess I want you to know right now.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel good. I'm comfortable.
Good. Good. To explain how Vicki is, well, why don't you explain, how are you Tammy Daybell's aunt, first off?
So my oldest sister, Phyllis, is Tammy's mom. Yeah. And so Phyllis, and then I have another sister, Barbara, and then me, and then I have a little brother, Sam, and that's our family.
Okay. And you are all, I want to point this out too, because we all know about Grandma Lucille on this channel.
Mom.
And you are Grandma Lucille's daughter, Phyllis, and you are both Grandma Lucille's daughter. Lucille is who Chad used to shame Tammy playing his video games. He claimed that Lucille visited him from beyond the grave and swore at Tammy. Do you want to clear that up too? Do you want to be Lucille's actual voice?
Yeah, so that's a sensitive issue with me for sure, because I don't. When she was alive, I didn't allow people to treat her a certain way, and then to find out that he was using her as his conduit to manipulate people, especially Tammy, because she was just such a sweetheart, and to pull that and to pull my mom into it, and just everybody, that we're very not all of us are religious people, but we're very spiritual people. And so to bring her in and to use her in that way, that it's just not buying it. And I when they first told me about it, the first thing I thought is, wow, why would she, if she was going to come and talk to somebody, why would it be Chad? I mean, there's not even a reason to come to Chad. I mean, I can see she would have got, had a message for Phyllis because she was sick and going through a lot of things. But no, I never bought that. I never believed it. I don't necessarily, just that whole scenario just stunk to me. And I'm not feeling good about it. Still not happy with it. And to be honest, I want that chapter taken out of his book. And that may be my next project.
I support you in that project. No one should not be using your mother.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, especially in looking back now at what's happened, obviously everybody knows that it just was a story he made up. And so that makes it really, even worse, because now we're dealing with, not only is she in a book that's just full of just a bunch of stuff that he made up, but it's a negative, for Tammy, because he was using it against her.
Yeah. Yes. Big news. Let's start with the big news, and then I want to share some of your experiences with Tammy, because Tammy and Vicki were close as aunt and niece, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I want to congratulate you. Is congratulations the right word? I don't even know, but I want to say I'm proud of you. Maybe that's the better word. I'm proud of you for fighting, to be Tammy's voice or one of her voices at the sentencing on Monday, July 31st. Many people mentioned I got that date wrong. I know. Everything is on summer schedules, guys. Court would never be on a Saturday. Like every weekend I have like a different event. So I just go by weekends in the summer. But yes, Monday, July 31st is the sentencing for Lori Vallow Daybell. And you have had to fight for your voice to be heard. And yesterday you were made a representative for your mother, or for your sister Phyllis,
Yeah.
who recently passed away. I'm so sorry. Tammy's mother. And you will be able to speak for your niece on Phyllis's behalf at the sentencing. Is that right? A victim impact statement?
Yeah, the way that it works is that you have to be there's a long list of people that can speak, but aunts, uncles, and grandparents are not on that list, which is, a little different because those are your blood relatives. In-laws can speak, brother-in-laws, mother-in-law, those people can all speak. So because my sister passed away, she and my sister Barbara and we sat under a tree last summer, and knowing that this was going to be happening, and knowing that, obviously she was ill, and we sat under a tree, and she said, she got kind of teary, and she goes, I'll never be able to, make the trip. And, it was really hard for her because she didn't want to put any hate in her body because she knew that the cancer would just feed off of that. So she really tried to really be positive. And even though, obviously she was heartbroken over what had happened, and she said, I'm never going to be there. And then, sorry.
It's okay.
I don't think I'd get emotional over this, but Barbara and I told her, where you can't walk, we'll carry you. And if you can't talk, we'll speak for you. And we'll just keep going as far as we can. None of us are young gals, so there's for instance, my sister Barbara is now not well. So we told her we would follow through with this. And then when I found out, oh my gosh, none of us knew that aunts wouldn't be allowed. And so the process was, after Phyllis passed away, I had asked the prosecutor, I'd like to speak on behalf of my sister, and or just speak. It doesn't, I don't have to single Phyllis out or, anybody in their family. I wanted to be able to give an impact statement because we had sat under that tree for so many hours and talked about the impact of it, and how we felt about what had happened. And I just think that, I had something to say, and whether it was for her or me or the way it impacted our family or anything, I really had something I wanted to say in it. And of course, my sister has, other children. She has Ron. She has a great family. But I had been at the trial. I'd seen some of the things that went on there. So I really wanted to speak. And so I did end up, the prosecutor's office, they don't really get involved in that. And so I submitted a letter on their suggestion. I submitted a letter to the judge, and just kind of went through, a timeline of what had happened and where I was now, that my sister had passed, which she did not know. And yesterday, according to the laws of the state of Idaho, he really was thoughtful in his process, and that I appreciated so much, because it ended up that it's well within the law what I asked him to rule, and that was that I would be able to speak on behalf of her or her family. And so, yeah, I can't say I'm excited to do it, but it's going to be for me, and it's going to fulfill something I promised my sister. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it. I have a few things that I do have to say, and I don't know if it's going to be too long. Uh, I've watched a few videos just wondering even how that process works, and boy, people are all over the place. But I don't know that I'm going to be doing too many swearing and running all around the courtroom. But I do have a few things I do want to say to her. Oh, I can't hear you.
Thank you for reminding me. I was on mute. I know that you mentioned, I know that Ashley Banfield mentioned to you, hey, if you can't give this victim impact statement, you can do it here on News Nation. And I've offered the same platform, like you can share it with us. And you've said to both of us and everyone that asks you, thank you, but I want to be able to be in the room. I want Lori Vallow Daybell to hear me.
Yeah.
And she will now.
Yeah. I want her to have to look at me. I had to watch her so many hours, and the smirking and the laughing, and through horrific testimony and photos, and just I can't explain what it's like to be looking at something that horrific and having the person that masterminded it smiling. It's just gut wrenching. And I don't know that anybody that, unless they go through that, would understand that. But yeah, that's kind of what really has kind of propelled me into really wanting to speak my piece.
Thank you. And you will not be the only voice for Tammy that day now. Is that right? Can you share with us?
Yeah. So I spoke to Samantha this morning. So excited. She's going to be there too. And
Samantha is Tammy's sister, everyone.
Yeah. So I'm super stoked. I think that she had been planning this for a while and just hadn't confirmed it. I know there's a lot of people, why isn't her sister? Why aren't her kids? And, everybody has their own process. And, she could have decided this months ago. I don't know what her process was, but she has every right to go in there and blast her. So I don't know what she's going to come up with, but I'm sure that it's going to be meaningful.
Tammy's only sister. They were close.
Yeah, they were very close. Yes. Mm-hmm. Especially in the later years, because after high school, they lived right around the block from each other. And so, they were having children at the same time. And, they were right there. They both they both taught, they both worked at schools. They had a lot in common. They were, close sisters.
That would have been really hard for her when Chad sort of took her away from her and her family in Springville and moved to Rexburg.
Yeah, I think their whole family was just devastated. I know I made a phone call to her about it, and I was like, gosh, you're moving, it's Leah's last year. And she didn't want to move. And then I think she said she was praying about it. And I think at the end, I don't know if she kept praying until she said yes, or if she acquiesced. I don't know about that. But I know that she had expressed that she understood my point, which was, well, this is Leah's last year, and it's going to be hard for her to move. As it worked out, she did really well there, but to lose her whole family, her whole support group, that was a lot. It was a lot to ask of her.
I think it isolated her a lot too from those she loved during those last
years. Yeah. I don't think anybody, I do think that people wondered what was why he had such a strong push that way. And as he kind of unveiled it, I think that the really important thing is that I think he had a plan, and that this plan was in the works. That's the way now, looking back, you can kind of see the way it laid out. Right. And unfortunately, this was about starting a whole new life with apparently a new church he was creating with someone else.
Right. Right. Tell us a little bit about how your niece Tammy and how close you were. You were Phyllis's younger sister, so you were a little bit closer to Tammy's age, and you guys were close, right?
Well, I had a close. I have a good relationship with my nieces and nephews. I mean, some of them I'm closer with than others. With Tammy in particular, because we got to work together for about a year and a half. Those were that was the time I really got to get close with her and really find out who she was, and she found out who I was. And it was her senior year and the summer that she was in high school. And so, we worked together at her mom's. Phyllis had a huge Tupperware distributorship. And she was an amazing businesswoman.
So Tammy gets it then.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all her kids are all brilliant. All of her kids are really sharp. And Ron is really smart. So, I mean, they had it coming from both directions. But she worked with Barbara. Barbara was the controller. She did all the finances for the business. And then I worked in the office with Barbara, and then Tammy did a lot of the peripheral stuff. But she would come in. And it's like anybody you work in an office with, you know what that's like. It's boring until you make it fun. And we learned a lot about each other, what made each other tick, the laughing and I don't know, for people that are from Utah, if you're from Provo, scones. So there was always the scone run,
Yes. Not British scones, everyone. Yeah.
No, Provo scones.
Right.
Us,
Mormon scones. Yes. I know Mormon.
Yeah. That was like a big thing. Like, okay, who's going to make the scone run? It just like, we just got to know each other. Like when she would come in sad, I would just wrap my arms around her because she just needed a hug. She was, and she was the kind of person that knew when she needed a hug. And so she would accept it. Mm-hmm. And because some people are kind of, I don't know, but she would take a hug. And Barbara often had to tell us to stop and go to work, and because we would be laughing about something. And she had a way of laughing, and she would kind of toss her head back, and then she would kind of go forward and then kind of just keep giggling. And so it would just kind of get us going back and forth and laughing. And, we were a couple, I should have been more adult than I was, but we just had such a great time. I just love her. That never ended. I had that relationship with her. And then of course got married, and she started her family, and she had Garth, and Garth was just a bright little guy. In fact, I didn't have any grandchildren at that time. And so I would call her and just ask her how Garth was doing. She would tell me different things he would do. And so I was like, this kid is really smart. So I would drop off the little educational things. And one time I bought him a globe and took it over, and I go, I don't know, this is pretty, advanced for like a 2-year-old, but let's give it a shot. And so she worked with him with that thing. And like 4 weeks later, I went over there, and he was finding he was just working that thing. And she'd go, okay, Australia. And he would put he really, so, I mean, it went down. She was really good that way with her kids.
She loved being a mother.
Very engaged. Yeah, very engaged. And I would go over there, and I was like, Tammy, there are toys everywhere. There's her whole house was full of toys. And she said, what I figured? I have the answer to how to keep my house clean. And I said, what's that? And she goes, I put the toys away once. She goes, at night, after they go to bed, I put them. And that's it. That's the house. That's when the house is.
She's better than me.
You're so smart like that. She goes, and then I can sit down and watch TV or read a book, and then I don't worry about it. She goes, in the morning, they just have at it. And, it's, she was just good that way. And just kind of I don't know. She just felt like she was going to let them be who they were and develop, and she was there to help along that process. So yeah, I thought she was a cool mom. I liked her. I liked her as a mom, and that, that's a big compliment for me because I'm very like mom, like I'm a mom watcher. So I love when I see people engaged with their kids. That to me is there's nothing better.
And so you saw that in your niece and Tammy.
Absolutely.
And I heard that I've heard from many people that she and Garth had a very close relationship and what a good boy he is. And so thank you for sharing that story.
I absolutely love Garth. I just love him, and the fact that he's had any hurt um, from what people have said about him or what he's gone through, it really hurts me because he's a great guy. He really is, and he's in a tough spot.
He is. Thank you for sharing that. And I know there's a lot of heartbreak. You've lost, your whole family lost Tammy, but it also sort of fractured the family um, because of the heartbreak. Is there? Can I ask if there's any communication right now with any of her children?
I know that there is some limited conversations, and I know that Ron and Phyllis worked really hard to keep that going. I know that Ron could sure use that now, and I don't know how much of it he's getting. I try to just steer clear of that because I know that's really a tough situation for them. But I just always said, they know how much you love them, and I know they love her. It made me sad because she was so forgiving and really tried hard not to carry any malice or any, those feelings that all of us feel.
She was a peacemaker.
It was really, yeah, I think she was the type of person that we could be so upset over something that happened in the press or something that was said or, just hurt. And she would be the one that would say, let's bear up. We can't change what happened and it hurts us, but let's bear up. Let's be like Christ. She was a very, I don't know. I don't want to talk about her too much because we're still in mourning and it's still a really tender place for me. But she was a lot better than I would have been.
Yeah. Were you able to see the children at Phyllis's funeral and catch up at all?
They did not come to her funeral. I noticed that a few of them it was Zoom also. So a few of them I noticed had watched it on Zoom, and
Okay.
I know that Garth had sent a message that he loved her.
It's heartbreaking. I'm so sorry.
It is heartbreaking. I just know that someday that part hopefully will be over. I doubt it will be in my lifetime, but I just at some point they'll know the truth of things. And
Yeah. Right now they're protecting themselves and doing
I,
what they can.
I would be protecting my heart and not knowing. It has to be confusing. They have to make decisions that nobody would ever want to make, and unfortunately, it affected Phyllis. That I think she didn't have as close of a relationship with them, and I really wish that there would have been an effort there. But I also I don't know how to. I don't want to be angry with them. On the other hand, it breaks my heart, and I don't know how to explain it more than I truly wish they would have understood that loving her didn't have anything to do with their dad.
Yeah.
And
Right.
yeah.
Thank you. There was a story. I know we only have you for so long, and for those that want to continue watching Vicki after this, you can head over to Court TV. She'll be with Chanley. Chanley is a friend of the program, and so I think it's wonderful. You'll be interviewing with her next. But there was a story that you shared with me at trial about Tammy cutting her hair. Are you encouraging Tammy to cut her hair? Can you share that story? I love that story.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun story because she was, she was kind of coming into her own, and you start to when you're high school is really hard, at least for most people. We're all
Yes.
even the popular group, they're all wondering, how goofy they look, and
High school's hard. High school's hard.
it's almost like when somebody goes, "Do you want to go back with what you know now to go to high school?" I'm like, "No, not really." But so she was, and it was her senior year, and she had come into work, and she was crying. She's like, "I can't do anything with my hair. I just feel ugly. I just this, the normal teenage girl things."
Right.
And Barbara and I were just listening to her, and I said, you just like, I go, look at this hairstyle in this book. It's just like short, and it's like, it's really like fancy, like you'd look like you were from Paris. Look at that. And I go, this would look so cute on you. Like, she goes, no, should I do it? It was like a whole afternoon of, oh man, I really want to. And I go, just go do it. Just go take this picture and go do it, and go get your hair cut. She thought about it, and she thought about it. And then the day was kind of over, and she was leaving. She left earlier than the rest of us, and she left, and it's like, okay, she's gone. And then like a few hours later, she comes back in, and she pops her head in, and she's got just like this really gorgeous haircut and the biggest smile. And she goes, I feel like a woman. Like I feel like, and she was just coming into her own. Like it was just so, I don't know what it did.
I know the haircut you're talking about. It's her senior photo in her yearbook, and I'll try to find it and post it later on the community post in YouTube. She does have this big smile on her senior yearbook photo.
It like totally like turned a key, flipped a switch. I don't know what. But every day she would come in, and then like I would be like, "Oh, look who's here! It's Tammy from France." And she would be like she would like model for us, and Barbara and I we just thought, we just thought the world of her. We just did. We just, she was just fun. And my other niece Patty, they were like best friends, and we talk about this all the time, because she goes, that was just like she was really feeling herself and really coming into who she was. And that haircut, something like that, it seems like so little, but yet it's so, something like that can just change the way you look at yourself. And she just came into her own. She looked gorgeous.
Yeah. And you were in the same town. The Daybell'S were there too. Were you there when she was dating Chad around that time, or was that a time you weren't there?
No, so I was there. I know he said he met her at a dance, but I introduced them before that. And my daughter reminded me of that the other day. She said, Mom, you remember you introduced them? And I was like, I did. She goes, yeah, we were somewhere at church and something happened, and we were like, oh, this is Matt Daybell, because Matt was in my Sunday school class.
Okay, and Matt is Heather Daybell's
husband. Yeah.
Okay.
Who's like, he was just perfect in my eyes. I adore Matt and Heather. I love them both. But anyway, and I introduced him, and apparently she caught his eye because they went to one of the single dances, and then the rest was history. And in fact, he was driving by our house one morning, and it was not too long after I introduced them. And one of my daughter Julie's friends came limping to our front door, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, my jeans are ripped. My brand new jeans." She was crying, "My brand new jeans are ripped." I'm like, "What happened?" She goes, "Somebody just hit me with their car." And I was like, "What?" And so I go running out, and it's Chad. And I guess he got blinded by the morning light, and she was crossing on the crosswalk, and he bumped her hard enough to not, yeah. Nobody knows the story. You're getting the exclusive. He bumped her hard enough to knock her down on her knees and scratched both of her knees and ripped her pants. So yeah, that was.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, Chad, if we're gonna start off with you marrying Tammy, you gotta stop running over her friends. But
I
yeah,
never did stop running over her. How
oh
ironic.
gosh, oh man.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
No, I get it. But yeah, so that's it, little by little, he kind of just, we got to know him better and better. And, that's why it's so hard when I see, when I hear the things and the vulgarity that comes out of him and the texts and all of the things that go along with what's going on right now. It's so difficult because that is not the person that I know. And so for me, I can only imagine that he was leading a double life and he was really good at it. And now we're seeing this other guy, this Rhode Island
the
guy.
Long Island Lisk.
Yeah.
Serial killer Rex.
Yeah. I've seen a little bit on it. I don't know a lot about it because I'm obsessed.
We interviewed a woman that went out with him yesterday on our channel. I don't know if you saw that, but
yeah, no, I yesterday was a crazy day for me, but he was leading a double life. He had a family and kids and everything else. And I'm like, I don't know if this is just a sign of our times where it's where men are not taught or they're psychologically off or what's going on. But these guys leading these double lives, I mean, it's scary. It frightens me.
Yeah. No, and I think after you go through it too, after you become a victim and a survivor, you get an eye for it too. I think, in my opinion, there have been people living double lives all throughout history, but once you experience it in your family and you see it, you start to notice it more.
You do, and I can tell you, it really brings, for me anyway, such a level of distrust of people. And that's one thing that I struggle with right now. And I think I talked to you a little bit about it before, is that I don't let very many people in. I'm really cautious of people because I don't trust people. I always think there's an ulterior motive, or why are they asking me that? Or yeah.
That happens too after you go through trauma. That's normal. Yeah. I understand. You will be standing in front of Lori Vallow Daybell in just a little over a week, sharing your victim impact statement and how this has affected you, your whole family, Phyllis, your sister, who lost her daughter. And I know you've mentioned that the trial was so much, you almost feel like that's when her health really started to decline. Is that true?
Yeah, she definitely, yes.
And she trusted Chad too. She
loved him like a son. She treated him like a family member. We all did.
She felt she was very betrayed, I can say.
Very much. And sad for her baby. Somebody treats your child. I mean, you're a mom. Somebody, even if you go to daycare and you find out somebody was mean to your child, you're just like sick about it. But somebody that you trust that deeply with your child, and to do that is just, it's
It's unfathomable. It's despicable.
I don't think you ever fully absorb it. Even now to this day, I still think about it, and it's like all over, getting hit with it all over again, because it's like, why? Why?
Mhm.
No, for no reason. She could have come. She would have been welcome anywhere she went, in any of our homes. We have a big family. She could have come to any of us. Her kids could have come to any of us. It's just like with Kate. Like JJ, they would have taken JJ in a heartbeat.
Right.
Kylie, she could have gone anywhere. And in a weird twist of irony, maybe, my daughter knew Lori before. We didn't know that. That's a whole nother. We'll have to
I
do
was
it.
going to bring that up. No, and we can talk about another time, but in a very, I do want to share in a very strange
Yeah,
twist of events. Vicki Hoban met Tylee.
yeah. And Tylee
Vicki knew Tylee
was one of my granddaughter's uh, friends. One of her friend group.
in Arizona, states apart. Your granddaughter was close friends with
Yeah,
Tylee, and you had met Tylee.
in fact, we had a midnight candlelight vigil for them, and we have the banner, and all the kids signed it. It's got a big picture of Tylee and JJ, and I'm thinking about taking it. I don't know if there's still, if we can hang it up at the property. I don't really know. That's another question. Maybe somebody can get me the answer to, but I would love to be able to put it up after the sentencing and at least have it up for a while, because they were not this whole story has touched probably millions, hundreds and thousands of people. And I just, I can't even explain how I want to, it's a weird thing to say, but I guess I want to include them in the healing part of this. And like, let's put a period on this one, and then let's go get Chad.
Yeah. I'm going to explain this relationship a little bit more and then let everyone know, because it is bizarre to me too. When I first learned this, I think when you guys told me, your daughter was with you at the trial, and
So
I mean, what are the chances? So I'll share this, but this is mostly about Tammy today. But Vicky's daughter went to church with Tylee and Lori and JJ and taught
and Charles.
and Charles and knew them all. So your daughter, Tammy Daybell's cousin, knew everyone.
She was close to Lori. They worked in the primary presidency together. And there's a couple different layers. Yeah, I mean, a couple roads we could go down here, Lauren. And I don't know, you probably can't do it in 2 minutes, but if you want to do the 2-minute version.
Well, she taught Tylee. We'll do the 2-minute version. Thank you. Your daughter taught Tylee in Sunday school, and your granddaughter was close to Tylee. You've sent me private photos of them together and of photos you have of Tylee. This is a bizarre coincidence.
Yeah.
You knew everyone. Like, this has affected your family.
Well, I owned a floral shop across the street from the subdivision where Charles was shot. My floral shop, I was like, everybody was running around in the parking lot. They're saying some guy was killed across the street. And this was 6 months before we realized, because this happened in July. And my daughter was telling me that somebody got killed or whatever. And anyway, we pieced it together finally when Chad married Lori, what was happening, who it was. And she's like, oh my gosh, I loved her. Like, she was so charming and blah, 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 blah. And her kids, and she goes, oh, that little JJ was just a spitfire. And we just, like, everybody in the primary just loved him. He was so adorable. But, and then the red flags started coming back in her head. But yeah.
And the red flags being that
He was
Kylie was a little bit controlled by Lori. Can I say that? Or
so, yeah, a lot. And Charles was the main caregiver for JJ when he was at home and not traveling.
okay. And your granddaughter, or we'd invite Tylee out, not me, but I'm just saying in general. I'm just trying to keep people, girlfriends would invite Tylee out, and then she would say,
This, we're gonna do that. She'd go, I can't go. My mom says I'm sick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that she had pancreatitis when she was a little one, but
But her mother would tell her when she could and couldn't go out because she would tell her she was sick.
yeah, which there's like some odd things that come up in your head there, and I don't want to judge that because I'm sure there's people that are gonna be like, well, that doesn't mean
It's okay. We'll leave that to my husband. We've done a whole episode on it.
we really need to get him in.
Yes, for those that are interested, I mean that Lori Vallow Daybell part 2. We talk a lot about this.
Yeah.
I don't know if a moderator, troublemaker Baker, Julie, you're so good at that pulling, but it's Lori Vallow Daybell part 2. It's also most recently on our podcast. We still have our podcast, and I think it's the second to last episode on our podcast. And we have a YouTube video where we actually discuss some evidence that shows that you don't have to say it, is what I'm saying, but you're sort of validating what we are suspecting.
And get an idea of it.
Yeah. You've shared a lot with us today. Thank you more than I thought you would. It means a lot. I'm really, really happy that you get to give a victim impact statement. It is actually, everybody knows I have insomnia. People, we call it our insomnia crew here. I show up all of a sudden at 3 a.m. We're like, oh, look, Lauren's here. My overseas guests are like, oh, good, I can catch you live. And, it's kept me up. I'll be honest, not being able to give a victim impact statement has, I mean, many things do, right? Everything does, but it has kept me up at night. And the relief I felt knowing that you'd be able to give that victim impact statement, I am so grateful. So grateful. I'm going to be there. I want everyone to know that we are going to live stream the sentencing. People have been asking, is it going to be live? We will be live streaming the sentencing here at Hidden True Crime, which means that your victim impact statement will be live, as will Samantha's, as will Kay's. Kay Woodcock will be giving her victim impact statement.
I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to hear it. I just love, I absolutely love Kay and Larry. They're deeply that they were able to keep this in the forefront until we got to the kids. And
you two were a support for each other at the trial. I noticed, or it seemed.
I love them. Yeah. And I can't wait to hear what Samantha has to say. Anybody that's giving a statement, this has affected people in so many different ways, and I just can't wait to be able to hear and connect with that, because I know how I'm like you. I've been up more than I've slept for a lot of years now, and this is going to be really meaningful, and then we're done.
Yeah. And every victim now will have a voice. JJ will have a voice, Tylee will have a voice, and Tammy Daybell will have a voice in Idaho on Monday, July 31st.
Well, if you show up
to be there. A lot of people corrected me, Lauren, it's not on Saturday. You're right. Court would never be on Saturday. I'm sorry, guys. I just section all my summers into weekends.
So how's your brother?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, that was a big part of me being at the trial, huh? My brother. The good news is he's in our hometown now. We've been able to bring him back. He was a New York City boy. He'd been living there for years. And he had been in Miami for months because his accident was in the Dominican Republic, and they flew him to Miami, the closest hospital. Right. And he was in ICU for months. And so we finally got him to a place last week where he was transferred to my hometown. you know, in the Mountain West, and so he's closer to family and friends, and that's a relief for everyone. We've all been taking turns in Miami. It's been heart's relief, but now it's up to our family and friends to hopefully wake him up, get him to improve, get his brain back. So we'll see.
Just circle around him with as much love as you can. That's all you can.
Thank you. I plan to go visit him right after the sentencing.
Yeah.
So it'll be a bit of a travel. We'll go to Idaho and then I'll go visit my brother and my family and then head back. So
Same thing. I'm going to be making a trip to, I think, probably where you're going. So, yeah.
thank you, Vicki, for being with us today. Truly, it means so much to me. This is you know, the emotions and feelings, and you even mentioned the trust you have with the trauma you and your family's experienced is so real. And so to come here and share what you did is not a small thing, and it means a lot to us. We want to get to know Tammy. We love Tammy. And so thank you for allowing us to get to know her a little bit more. And we'll all be listening to you here at Hidden True Crime. Share your victim impact statement.
I'm nervous about it a little bit because, you know, I think it's a little bit nerve-wracking. I don't want to miss anything. But I'm happy to be there and so grateful to the judge. So grateful.
Judge Boyce was very methodical and I believe he was very thoughtful. You wrote him and he was quick. He understood and he was compassionate in his order. I felt.
I really felt that. Of course, I zoomed through to the last page. I didn't read anything. I just went, shh. And when it said the end was, yes, she will. I was like, okay, now I can sit down and read. And it was very thoughtful in his decision making. And
yeah, so it be ordered is what he said.
You want to hear anything bad about him from me? I appreciated him all through the trial.
Yeah.
He was tough. He was tough. And I know your phone got taken away and, you know.
Just once.
You're not.
And it deserved to be taken away. Actually, it went off in the middle of court and I threw it down the aisle. I'm like, take it. Take it. Like, you know, the bailiff came over. I'm like, just pass the phone.
Well,
pass of shame.
He was texting me her phone number, and it was right when the door shut. And our phones would beep, and she goes, "I'm turning it off." We were both just like in a panic. So yeah, I get it. We were a little naughty, but it was really getting. We connected with a group of us ladies, and you guys were such a support and still have been. You guys have gotten me through some rough days. And yeah, I love y'all.
Thank you. Well, we'll be seeing each other and soon. So I'll see you there.
Sunday.
Thank you for being here. You can go and watch more of Vicki over at Court TV, everyone, with Chanley, our friend Chanley. So
thank you.
All right. Okay, we'll see you soon, Vicki.
Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.